In 1865, the Civil War ended. Over 600,000 Americans lay dead. The Confederacy was crushed, and 4 million black men, women, and children were now free. But freedom was just the beginning. What followed was not peace. It was a second war. A war fought not with armies on battlefields, but with ballots, bullets, and betrayal. This is a story of Reconstruction, the most revolutionary and the most violently suppressed period in American history. A story that most textbooks skip. A story of Black power, Black resistance, and the systematic destruction of Black progress. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery in December 1865. For the first time in American history, Black people were citizens, not property. The Freedmen's Bureau was established to help formerly enslaved people transition to freedom. Schools were built, families separated by the auction block were reunited, Black communities organized churches, mutual aid societies, and political organizations. Frederick Douglass, the towering intellectual and abolitionist, declared that the nation had a chance to fulfill its founding promise. And for a brief, extraordinary moment, it did. What happened next was nothing short of revolutionary. Black men voted for the first time, and they didn't just vote, they governed. Hiram Rhodes Revels of Mississippi became the first Black United States Senator in 1870, occupying the very seat that Jefferson Davis had vacated. Blanche Kelso Bruce followed, becoming the first Black senator to serve a full 6-year term. Robert Smalls, who had stolen a Confederate warship and sailed his family to freedom during the war, served 5 terms in Congress. P.B.S. Pinchback became the first Black governor in American history, leading Louisiana in 1872. Across the South, more than 1,500 Black men held public office during Reconstruction, as state legislators, sheriffs, judges, and superintendents of education. Black political power was not a dream. It was real, and it terrified those who believed America belonged to white men alone. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, granted citizenship to all persons born in the United States and guaranteed equal protection under the law. The 15th Amendment, ratified in 1870, declared that the right to vote could not be denied based on race. These were not symbolic gestures. They were radical transformations of the Constitution, written in the aftermath of war, designed to make democracy real. For the first time, America attempted to become a multiracial democracy, and multiracial democracy changed everything. But the moment Black people gained power, a campaign of terror began. The Ku Klux Klan, formed in 1866 in Pulaski, Tennessee, waged a guerrilla war against Black freedom. Klansmen rode through the night, burning homes, whipping men and women, and murdering Black political leaders. The White League in Louisiana and the Red Shirts in South Carolina operated as paramilitary armies, openly attacking Black voters and Republican office holders. This was not random violence. It was organized, strategic, and political. The goal was simple: destroy Black political power by any means necessary. Election days became battlefields. Black men who dared to vote were beaten, shot, or lynched. Their families were threatened. Their homes were burned. The violence reached its peak in a series of massacres that should be remembered alongside any atrocity in American history. In 1873, in Colfax, Louisiana, a white mob attacked Black men defending the county courthouse. As many as 150 Black men were killed, many after they had surrendered. It was the single deadliest act of racial violence during Reconstruction. In 1876, in Hamburg, South Carolina, a white militia attacked a Black militia company. After the Black men surrendered, several were executed. These were not riots, they were coups. Armed overthrows of democratically elected governments, and they worked. The federal government, which had the power to protect Black citizens, chose not to. President Andrew Johnson, a white supremacist who succeeded Lincoln, vetoed civil rights legislation and pardoned former Confederates. Even under Ulysses Grant, who deployed federal troops against the Klan, the political will to protect Black rights eroded. By 1877, the nation was tired of the fight. In the disputed presidential election of 1876, Republicans and Democrats struck a deal. Rutherford B. Hayes would become president, and in exchange, federal troops would withdraw from the South. Reconstruction was over. The federal government abandoned black citizens to the mercy of the very people who had enslaved them. What followed, was a half-century of terror. Black voters were stripped of their rights through poll taxes, literacy tests, and grandfather clauses. Convict leasing turned black men back into forced laborers. Lynching became a tool of social control. The Supreme Court gutted the 14th Amendment in case after case. Jim Crow laws mandated racial segregation in every aspect of life. The gains of Reconstruction, the schools, the political representation, the economic progress, were systematically dismantled, and the story was rewritten. For generations, Americans were taught that Reconstruction was a failure, a time of corruption and chaos. They were not taught about the black senators, the black governors, the black communities that built schools and churches and businesses from nothing. They were not taught about the coups and the massacres. This is the story that Reconstruction, uprisings, and coup. The war after slavery, 1865 to 1900, tells in full. It is a story of black brilliance and black resistance. A story of what happens when democracy is real and what happens when powerful men decide to destroy it. Understanding Reconstruction is not just about understanding the past, it is about understanding the present. The voting rights battles, the political violence, the erasure of black history, these patterns did not end in 1900. They echo, and as long as this history remains untold, those echoes will continue. Get the book at cipherwithmalik.com. Because history doesn't disappear, it echoes.